has had a good day so far. And welcome to this session. This is day 4 of the GDSC SSA Bootcamp. And today we're going to be talking about the best practices for your solution challenge submission. And now, really, what makes this competition as important as it is because of the fact that you are asked to think about a solution that ties itself to one of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And so, in a way, you are being asked to think beyond yourself, which is what most times people who are in tech and people who are like leaders and problem solvers do already. But right now you're being asked to do that and to tie it to a specific objective and for you to even be aware of the particular objective that you're tying it to. And so Solution Challenge 2024, this is an annual competition, and I believe we're all here for this year's own. I'm going to share my screen so that we can go through the slides together and everybody can understand things as we move along. So if at any point you can't hear me, please signify so that I'm not just going on and on. The This session and the slide in particular is titled "The World is Your Marketplace," and that's because I believe that with the kind of solutions that GDSC members are being tasked to build in this challenge, you can truly be the kind of person that develops a solution to a local problem that ends up going global. Because as much as problems are central sometimes to particular locations, they can be dynamic as well because they deal with human beings, and human beings are dynamic, and one problem that exists in one place, the solution can be adaptable and be applied somewhere else. And so in the true sense, this is really a global competition and giving you the opportunity to contribute to your world in a much bigger light. And so today, as we're going over the key points to note as you are making your submission, it's really important that you pay attention, because I don't know if you're here with all your team members or if it's just one person from the team that's here, but it's important that you pay close attention. We're going to go over the solution challenge submission criteria, the problem statement, the demo video tips, and then the form, so that it doesn't look strange to you when you do actually open it to do your own submission. Now, beginning is oh yeah this is the slide that I put at first because I was really panicking about how I was going to start, and I just kept thinking, what am I going to do to open up the space? And so yeah, my friend actually helped me decide on this one, and so I'm really grateful to her. Kemi, thank you so much. So your social challenge journey truly and really involves a lot of different things that mean that you as a person have to be aware of yourself as you are moving forward, right? So you have to truly invest not just your time, but your mind as well, to be present in the moment at every step of the journey, because you realize that in the submission form, a lot of questions that are being asked are not particularly about I mean, there's a section for like the architecture and the technical aspects of your solution, but there are questions surrounding many different things, and these are things that if you are not being attentive throughout the journey, you won't be able to answer those questions, and then you would have made such an amazing solution, but then you're not able to truly put it out there in the best light, right? So firstly, here you want to invest in quality team building. What this means is when you have your team of 4 or your team of 3, ideally it's a team of 4 people. So what you want to do is that you want to make sure that you are looking at the people that you're putting in your team. What exactly is the role that is being assigned to each person? What this does for you is that eventually, as you move further in the competition, you are able to understand what each person is bringing, and then follow up with that specific person as regards the deadline that they are supposed to meet on their own end, and avoid passing work to somebody else, because this happens a lot, especially in situations where the roles have not been clearly distributed and everybody doesn't understand exactly what they're supposed to do. Maybe it's a group of friends, and most times it is actually a group of friends, and they come together and say, we want to build for this particular competition, what SCG are we looking at? And they have that on ground, but they never really talk about who is doing what. So sometimes things get lost in translation because one person thinks the other person is already covering it, but then that person is not. So you want to be able to invest in quality team building and clear cut role distribution. If you can put it in a document, that would be really helpful for you, because it will help you to avoid a lot of overlap. Then you want to notice what influences your decision to choose a particular Google product over another one to create your solution. Because this is one of the questions that came up at least twice during the last demo day, is that a judge was really asking them, why did you pick this particular product over this other one. And so you want to be able to explain why you did what you did. And what you are speaking to, particularly with this question, is your ability, your knowledge, really. So the solution that you're building will have certain particulars about it. And so you want to be able to tie the Google product that you've chosen to the solution that it brings, that to the yeah, to the solution that it brings to your solution. So you want to be able to say, I have chosen, for example, Flutter, because of whatever reason that you've chosen Flutter. And you want to be able to say that as succinctly as possible. What existing solutions did you draw inspiration from to improve on your own solution? Here, you are speaking to your research. So, what they want to see is that you have actually spent time doing market research and you are aware of the fact that you are not the first person that is solving this problem. However, your solution is bringing something novel to the table. So, you can be improving on an existing solution, or you can be doing something completely new. And these are the two ways that you can go about your solutions challenge entry. Then there is plans for scalability as regards the inflow of more users. So with this one, what you're really talking about here is how exactly you are going to make sure that your product is able to accept more people onto the platform. And so when that comes up in the solution challenge form, you're also supposed to fill that part. You pay attention to the challenges that you've encountered and the steps taken to overcome them. This part is probably the I say for me, I feel like this is probably the most open learning aspect of the challenge in totality, because here you are speaking to what your trials are. And I remember that when I was talking to a different group and I was telling them it's important that you are not shy about the challenges that you encounter when you are in the space of making your solution, because you're a Google developer student, and so you really want to be able to project that student aspect and put it across there and say, this is what we've been able to come up with, these are the challenges that we encountered, as opposed to making it look like it went smoothly. Because truly and really, it wouldn't have gone very smoothly for you. If not, you then you would be an expert. You wouldn't be able to develop a student, right? And even if you might have some level of expertise, it's important that you're also able to pay attention to your challenges, because that's what you're going to be required to write about. And with your challenges, it's really about you saying, this is what happened, and this is what we did about what happened, and this is how what we have done and improved on has improved the solution that we're submitting. Then you want to note the aspects of the existing problem which your solution doesn't account for. So last year's demo day, we had there was so demo day is 10 teams, right? The top 10 that are chosen. And there was a particular team, they're called Here Sitter. Now, Here Sitter is a team that built a solution for the people with hearing impairments, and their solution was based on an app that they built, which meant that anybody who doesn't have a smartphone and cannot download this app is not able to use that particular solution. So, if there are, for example, 15 million people in the world affected by hearing impediments, it's only the percentage of that 15 million with access to smartphones that will be able to use that solution. And so that was one of the things that they mentioned when they were asked about the aspects of the existing population which the solution doesn't account for. And so you want to be able to say what we have done is not going to be able to completely solve the problem for these 15 million people, but with this solution, realistically, we might be able to help 10 million people. And someone else is going to come up with a solution that will solve it for the remaining 5 million people. And so you don't want to be, for lack of a better word, arrogant in the way that you're presenting it, because you're not going to solve for everybody, especially because this is technology and it's not every single person that may have access to the solution you have built in the way that you have built it. So you want to honestly account for the aspects of the existing problem that your solution doesn't cover at all. And then now it is to the demo day. So with your demo day video, it is a 2 minute video, and that is 60 seconds, that's 120 seconds. And because it is so short, you have limited time to explain what you have spent almost, like, I don't know, 6 months to, I don't know, some people spend almost a year like prepping for solution challenge in advance, because there are people who are fortunate enough to hear about GDSC in their universities way before they decide to participate. And so you might have had more time to build your solution, or some people might have got together and done something in like a month. But all the effort that you put in, you have been asked to explain this in 2 minutes. And so you want to explain your problem succinctly, and then you want to explain why it is a problem. Now, this point is really, really asking you, it's not enough for you to say 50 million girls in the world are affected by, let's say, speech impediments. And then you now go on to say, thus, we have built this app that helps convert text to speech. Because if you say 50 million girls in the world are affected by hearing impediments, what we've heard is a problem. But if you don't tie it to the outcomes that occur in their lives, we're not able to understand why it is a problem. So you say 50 million girls are affected by speech impediment, but it's like, okay, and then what? So you want to say 50 million girls in the world are affected by speech impediments. This affects their ability to participate actively in class activities, and then it goes on to affect their ability to participate even in life. And so it affects the quality of jobs that they're able to do, which means women are earning less money. And if they're earning less money, then they are more motivated to go for jobs that pay them way below what they're qualified to do, which is underemployment. So you want to be able to tie your problem to many different things so that it really looks like a problem. And then by the time you start explaining the solution, the person that is on the other end of the screen is already on that journey with you. And so that's how you start the story, is explaining what you're doing, why you're doing it, why it is important. And that's what you do. And in the submission form, I think this part is called problem statements. And so you really want to make the problem statement look like it's a problem, so that by the time you move on to the next section, whoever is reading it really, really understands, like, oh, this is exactly what you're trying to say. Then you want to weave reliable and specific facts into your story. And this is because it's a cliche, but it's true. Data doesn't lie. So if you're going to go with something like the 50 million girl story that I explained, you want to be able to say, maybe according to the United Nations Development Program, as recently as 2023, there are 50 million girls affected by speech impediments in, I don't know, the world, or you want to say West Africa, or you want to pick a specific country. However you want to do it, you want to be able to weave these facts into your story, because it is more likely that someone remembers a fact when it is tied into a story, because they've gotten on the journey with you after you've explained your problem. And then now you're quantifying that problem by saying there are 50 million people affected by this problem. And then the person can really envision what that looks like. You can also use percentages, but I usually feel like using actual numbers usually helps people to see the problem as huge as it is. And then you want to be specific about the sustainable development goals and the targets that you're solving for. So this part is, I included this part because there are 17 goals, and oftentimes people's solutions, they may feel like none of the goals are really covering the things that they want to solve for. But that's actually not true, because the reason why the UN came up with these 17 sustainable development goals is because before we had Millennium Development Goals, which were the MDGs, and they were narrow. They didn't accurately account for a lot of the problems that world nations were facing in the UN at the time. But what they've done with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and then adding targets and indicators under them, is that they have done their possible best. And I don't think that there is an aspect of development or underdevelopment that isn't covered by it. So if you look on at face value and you see all 17 and you feel like nothing here really speaks to what I'm doing, look at the targets as well. So for instance, I'm working on SDG 8, for example, which is decent work and economic growth. And maybe I'm looking specifically at the angle of youth unemployment. Now, decent work and economic growth is actually what I'm solving for, but I want something more specific because I'm talking particularly about youth. So I went to look at the targets, and I saw in target 8.5 and 8.6 and 8.2, specifically 8.5 actually, that it says reduce the number of youths not in education, employment, and training. So 8.5 is exactly and directly what my solution is solving for. However, 8.5 is the target and 8 is the SDG. So when you're making the demo video, you want to say, I'm solving for SDG 8, specifically targets 8.5, 8.6, 8.2. And all of them have targets and indicators which you can look at so that you know exactly which SDG you are directly involved with. You use infographics to explain how your solution works. Now, because the demo video is 2 minutes, if you oftentimes if you go for like a live demonstration of the solution, it might take too long. As opposed to if you use an infographic where the cursor will just move over the screen and click all the elements that you want to click and everything will come alive on the board. So you want to try and see how you can weave infographics into it to just speed things along so you have enough time to explain the solution, because the main point of the demo video, which is leave perfect and make it functional, is the judge really wants to see what your solution does from beginning to end. So don't pay attention to making fancy graphics and you want the phone to drop from one corner and spin 360 and then lay flat and then the thing comes up indeed. Like, all that is amazing. And if you can't do that, then you should probably go for it. But the thing that is really, really what the judges are looking for in your submission is the functionality. Meaning, this problem you've explained to me, what is this your solution doing about it? Which means even if you're not able to afford someone that can make all those fancy graphics for you, forget about it and just show the solution in its simplest light so that the judge that is looking at it is able to understand. A user flow diagram can effectively help you achieve this. And I saw this last year actually. I think I included, yes, this is the diagram that I saw last year. And this app is called Head Home. Head Home is an app that was built for Head Home was built for dementia patients to help them with their wandering episodes. So dementia is a mental illness, and one of the ways that it manifests is that the victim or the patient typically has wandering episodes where they will leave a location and just wander off somewhere else. And so what they've done with this solution is that it was both software and hardware because it was a physical device like a wristwatch that they wore. So what they did with the user flow diagram, because there are so many people involved in the execution of this solution, and they wanted to be able to show each stakeholder's role in the delivery of the solution, they use a user flow diagram. So the video went, I think, maybe 1 minute and like 40 something seconds, and then the diagram was there for about 10 seconds. So even if everything they've been explaining from the beginning up until that 1 minute and 40 seconds you didn't understand it, immediately the diagram comes up, you can immediately grasp what the solution is. And they use the color code to show you who does what here. So the blue one is for the patient, the caregiver, and the volunteer. And these are the human elements involved in the solution. And then you have I think this is amber or orange. I don't know what shade this is. But yeah, that shows like the actions that the blue person is taking. And then the purple shows you the things that the system itself is doing. So the app that we have built, this is what it is automatically programmed to do. This is the human part of it, and this is what the human person is going to do, and then this is what our app is going to do to support. And I really, like last year when I saw it, it really blew my mind because it was such a communal effort thing, because there are caregivers involved, there are volunteers involved. They had a space where they would actually register volunteers on the app and then assign a volunteer to a patient and then have that person be responsible for that patient. And it really helped because they tried to do a live demonstration about it, but then the diagram just helped me understand everything that was happening because there were too many people involved. And then at the end of the day, when I looked at it, I understood why there were all these different people involved in the delivery of the solution. And so if you can do this, it is very advisable that you do, because you don't have all the time in the world to explain what you're doing, but you also want to be able to put your best foot forward. So yeah, that's for the user flow diagram and your solution challenge story in 120 seconds. Then these are the demo video guidelines. I've gone over a few of them when I was talking earlier. So you make sure your video is not longer than 2 minutes, because if it is longer than 2 minutes, the judges will only watch the first 2 minutes and then every other thing you've said is lost. And then it must be produced at 1x speed, so you can't accelerate the video to make up for the time. You have to make sure that you record the video 1x speed and 2 minutes. Then you want to start with a short introduction, the solution's name, where your team members are from. If you have different people from different GDSCs or different countries involved, or different, like, you want to be able to mention that, or maybe just display it on one side of the video, anything that will help you save time. Then you demonstrate your solution. And that's what I was talking about when I was saying leave fancy and just focus on making it functional. Focus on, does it explain what we have spent all this time doing? And if it does, it doesn't matter. Like, you'll be able to achieve a good quality video, but don't spend so much time thinking about making it fancy. So that's for that one. And then the demo, the focus of your video features a demonstration of the solution and how a user will interact with it. Now, because you've spent all this time on the solution, it's likely that there are certain aspects of the solution that you and your team members already understand that is difficult for someone who has never encountered the app before. So when you're recording the video, I think something that will help you avoid locking your users out, like blocking them out and not allowing them understand what you're doing, is bringing a stranger onto the team. Bring somebody who doesn't know what you guys have been doing from the beginning. You can ask a member of your GDSC to volunteer to be in the demo video, and then, or maybe after you record the video, you show it to them. Let them ask the questions, because there might be something that you skipped and all of you would have been there together doing the video, and then you skip it, and then when they say, oh, why this, you be like, oh, because we already talked about, they know the answer to that question. But the person who is on the outside looking in doesn't understand that. So if you can get somebody that is a complete stranger to your solution to look at it before you send in the video, that would be really good. Or even get the person involved in the video itself. So let the person be the one to open the app and navigate, and so that you can be sure that the UX and UI is functional. Yes. And then you want to include how your solution uses the Google products and platforms. And so this one, You might not have enough time to explain in detail in the demo video, but there's a section on the submission form where you actually, in about 1,500 words, you go into detail about the architecture and why you chose the specific components that you chose, and so you can do that. Then I'm going to pick something that jumps out here. Record your video in landscape mode because you're going to be posting it on YouTube, and you're attaching the YouTube link in the submission form, not the video itself. So that's why you have to record in landscape mode. And there was, yeah, and so you can go over this in your spare time. I think something that we can do is I'll probably send it to as many GDSC leads as possible so they can circulate it to their club members, and then everybody can get a hold of this slide in case you want to go over it with your team again. Yes, now the submission criteria. So there are 5 different sections here, and they cover the things that are really important in explaining your solution. So your project setup starts with the challenge that you're solving for using a problem statement. And they have been so generous, and they've shown how to create the perfect problem statement for your solution challenge submission. So firstly, a good problem statement has some level of urgency about it, which is why earlier I was mentioning that if you explain it, if you say what the problem is, you explain why it is a problem, because that is what gives it a sense of urgency. And someone looking at the video won't just be thinking, but then why is this solution important to you? Why are you solving for this particular one? There are so many problems in the world. Why this one? But when you explain the problem and you explain why it's a problem, and then you go for that to quantify it, it jumps out at the person almost immediately. And so, and in the simplest terms possible, explain the process of concern and the impact that your solution has on your community. So here, they're asking you for your empathy. They're asking to see your solution that you've created has to solve a problem first for your local community. What does this solution do for the people that are around you in your immediate environment? How much research have you invested into it? How much heart has gone into the solution that you are submitting? And that's what you're being asked to do here. You also have to explain the size and the scope, so that you can easily achieve that by quantifying using 15%, 50%, 20 million people, 5 million people, 1 out of every 10 people. Just something that gives an idea so that someone is able to see how important it is. The problem statement shouldn't be more than one paragraph. So at most you can have like 5 to 6 sentences, and then at least you can have 2 to 3. How to structure your problem statement is who, what, where, and when, and then why. So the who is the people that are affected by the problem that you're explaining. The what is the problem. The where and when, who does this happen to, where exactly? Is it something that is central to West Africa? Is it something central to Africa? Is it something in North Africa, in North America, in Europe, in the Asias, in the Americas? You want to be able to say these are the different demographics of people affected by this problem. And then why is it a problem? And we've already gone over that several times. So that is for your problem statement. Now the implementation. Oh no, secondly, so what United Nations SDGs and targets did you choose, and what inspired you to select these goals? So there again, it's about your empathy. It's about you saying these are the people affected by this, and this is how it affects the standard of living they are able to attain, and this is why it's a problem that needs to be solved. Then implementation. Here you describe the architecture that your team has chosen for your solution, the high level components. So here you can go into all the technical detail, because here they want to see that you understand the technologies that you've chosen to use. What specific products and platforms did you choose to implement, and why? So you are explaining here what exactly in that product you used for your solution, not the entirety of what it does. Nobody's asking you to give like intro to Firebase or intro to Flutter. It's specifically what did Flutter help you achieve in this solution. Then feedback, testing, and iteration. Here you're supposed to talk about the feedback that you've gotten from users. So you can recount like 3 specific feedback points that people made, and then what your team did about those feedback points. So they can be good and they can be bad. I think I would advise like maybe 2 problems, maybe 2 negative, 1 positive. So you can say maybe someone really complimented the UI, said it was easy to navigate. They found like maybe they opened the app, you knew exactly what to do. So you can include that. And then you can say the challenge that we encountered was, for example, I don't know, maybe somebody didn't find it easy to use. And so you have like someone that has complemented your solution and someone that had a problem with it, so that it shows the growth process. Because if it's all compliments, 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 we can't really see where you got criticism from. And so it doesn't, like, nothing about that particular scenario stands out. If you open a form and you see we tried the code 50 times before it finally ran, it's more difficult for you to forget that somebody said they tried the code 50 times before the thing worked. Unlike someone who says, one time we typed it in and we ran it and the code was correct and everything came out. Like that story will easily fall out of your head. But someone who says we did it 50 times, I didn't say anybody should go and embellish, but I'm saying you will have challenges as you're working on it because you're a Google developer student. There are going to be challenges. Don't be shy to say these are the challenges that we encountered. And this is because the victory there is this is what happened and this is what my team did about it, because that's really what this competition is about. You're asked to form a team and come up with a solution. This is what we faced and this is what we did about what we faced. So don't be shy about that part at all. The code testing and iteration highlights one code you faced. So if you ran your code 100 times before it went, you can include that there and say, hey, we suffered before this thing worked too, and you can include there. Success and completion of solution. So here you're talking about how your solution addresses the challenge that you're solving for. So after you said we built this app, for example, last year there was so let me use Here Sitter again. So Here Sitter is an app for hearing impaired that I explained in the beginning. And the way that it solved the problem is the app recognized sounds and then would send an alert to the person's phone. So, for example, a doorbell ringing, car honking on the road, glass breaking, people screaming, baby crying, and the app would recognize that sound and then send a notification to the person's cell phone. And so you can look at it, and for example, if it's a mother that has a nursing baby, because she's deaf, she won't be able to hear the baby crying, right? So by looking at the phone and seeing that alert, her attention is drawn to her baby wherever the baby is, maybe sleeping, or maybe the baby can even be right beside her, but she's not paying attention. So that is the way that the solution they built solved that particular problem, because the person's hearing is impaired, but they can see. So that solution appropriately solves that problem accurately. And then you upload a copy of your demo video, maximum of 2 minutes, demonstrates a working application of the solution and all that. And then scalability. So here is the futuristic aspect of your vision as a member of the team that has built this solution. What is the future of this? Where exactly are you seeing this project going? What are your next steps? How do you plan to scale this app up so that it works for a larger audience? Because some teams do take their solutions to market. I know last year we had this Nigerian team, Farmex, and at the demo day, they talked about how they plan to monetize the app. So that is something like you want to be able to account for the inflow of more users by the time you monetize your solution. And then lastly, you explain how the technical architecture of the solution will support either in its current state or with minor adjustments a larger audience. So you can say right now this is where this app is and this is the number of people it can support, but with these adjustments it can support more users. And so that is what you're required to do in scalability. So really with the submission criteria, you are going through the entire solutions challenge journey from beginning, because it starts with why you chose the SDG, what problem, and then it ends with we finished the project, now what next. And so, if you are not paying attention, if you are not attentive to your team members, to the solution as you're building it, you won't be able to answer these questions as easily as you should be able to in the end. So, yeah, we talked about the problem statement already. So, this is just an overview of the submission criteria guidelines, which I've already explained in the beginning. And so, this is just a run through in case every other thing was too much, just one line, and you can look at that when you get the slide. Now we'll go over the social challenge submission form together. Yes. So we're going to do this part so that everybody gets an understanding of exactly what it is that is happening here and nothing looks strange. Nothing looks strange when you eventually open it up. So it's only one member of the team that is going to fill this submission form, and that is because it's just one entry per team. So regardless of how many team members you have, it's only one person that is coming on here to fill the form, and you have until February 22nd 2024 to fill the form and upload. Then so it starts with your email, so I'm just gonna like fill random stuff here so that we can move it along. Yeah, so let me copy my email address from here and use it instead. Yeah, so this is what we're going to do. And so you name your solution, let's say Nomad, for example. Maybe it's like a travel app or something to solve for tourism. Your first team member is him's email address. I'm going to use mine, we don't have time. The second person's email, okay, this is first name and last name, sorry, not email address. Who is the second person? Her's email address is this. So, because the first person who fills the form is going to put their email address here, is this person's name that's going to be here. So, the email address, you can decide that you even want to use, if maybe the app you've already, like you have a separate email address account for it, you can do that. So, you can put the email address, and then the person filling the form puts their own here, and then the second person and that person's email address. And I guess like this is probably in case something happens to one of the emails, they will still be able to reach other members of the team, and all is not lost in case there's like an error in the submission. So yeah, and then the email address again. And so it goes down and says select the people that are on your team. So if you have any of these people, you tick as is applicable. And if they are not a member of GDSC, maybe you have four people and one person is not a member, you can put, because for you to even qualify to submit your solution, you have to have at least one GDSC member on your solution challenge team. And then everybody else can probably not be a GDSC member. But it's advisable that you be. Why wouldn't you want to be first students? Come to the winning side. So, is anyone on your team from another GDSC chapter? So you pick if it's yes or no. Perhaps all of you are from the same team, then you say no, or you say yes, however it is for you. Which GDSC are you a part of? So there's a drop down here. I'm just going to pick, I'll say Algeria. So that's the one. And then what GDSC related activities have you participated in previously? So you pick as many as you guys have participated in. I'm going to say Hackathon for Solution Challenge. Then this is now project information. So when did you start working on it? And there's the drop down of the different the months and years. And so let's say February 2023. Now they're asking for what SDG. It's important that here, the reason why it's even important that you look at the targets of the SDGs is because if you come to this section and you pick 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because your solution is perhaps maybe it's an app that links, let's say, companies to tech talent, for example, that solution of job creation solves for almost all the SDGs. It solves for no hunger, no poverty, zero hunger. It solves for gender equality. It solves for reduced inequalities, because if you have a job, in economics it's called trickle down economics. So one solution births many, many, many other solutions. When someone has a job, they're able to afford a higher standard of living, which means they can eat better, they can afford good housing, they can afford education. So like it has ripple effects, and it's trickle down economics. So but if you come to the form and you pick all five of those SDGs, you look confused, because in truth, all five of them, your solution doesn't directly solve for all of them. Your app creates jobs for people, so you want to pick decent work and economic growth. If it is a health app that probably helps people watch their blood pressure, good health is also something that can have ripple effects in hunger and good health and well-being and what clean water and sanitation. But because it specifically helps people watch their blood pressure or their weight, you want to pick good health and well-being. And maybe you can even extend it to be like at most three, but it's advisable that you keep it like two is fine, so that it looks like you know exactly what it is that you're doing. When you're recording the video, the demo video, you can include that, oh, because our solution is something that helps people watch their weight and maintain good health, it will eventually help them attain a better standard of living and be able to get better jobs and live longer and contribute to sustainable cities and communities. But directly, it's about good health and well-being. So you pick good health and well-being, and you can just keep it moving from here. It doesn't matter how many goals you pick. That's not what is fascinating about it. What's fascinating is that you're solving a problem. And then you want to pick the products and platforms that you've used. So what did we pick here? This is good health and well-being. We can say machine learning, for example, because maybe it helps me like learns the person's where they are and like where they're trying to get to. So you can take machine learning. What feedback do you have about the Google products and platforms you used? If there are any things that you would like, so here now is Google saying, what have we not done that you would like us to do, so that it would have been easier for you to make this solution. So you can type whatever, maybe I don't know, let's just random whatever. Next. So yeah, there are six parts to the form, but don't worry, you've spent all this time building the solution. You can spend time filling the form to submit. So here you're picking team members from other GDSC. So what GDSC are your other members a part of? If you are all from the same GDSC, you can just pick one, maybe yeah, Midland States University. That's such a nice name, Midland States. So next, and then here is your demo video and the GitHub links for your solution. So again, they go over the demo video guidelines because they really don't want you to make any mistakes, because it would be so sad to see your solution just go to waste because you skipped one particular instruction. So even how to title the video is here. Make sure it's hosted on YouTube. Like just look like the ways to do these things are all there, but sometimes we're in so much of a hurry that we completely miss it. And then you submit the video and you're like, I haven't heard back from them in so long. I wonder what happened. And then you go and realize there was something you were supposed to do that you didn't do, and that's just so sad. So just as much as possible, try and calm down and open your eyes and just focus. So here you're sharing your YouTube demo link. I don't have any link here, so I'm just going to copy. Yeah, let's say we are using, let me take the Meet link for example, and we put the link here, and then the GitHub project link as well. Now, FarmX last year actually said that they were going to make their project open source, and they did, because I know there are two teams from my GDSC that actually are using FarmX's code for a project that they are working on as well. And so that's one benefit of sharing the project link, is that people can then go on to learn from the code that you built and build their own as well. Then 2 to 3 sentence overview of your project, so you can go over the solution that you are solving for and all that. And then clearly describe the challenge. Describe there. Project setup, what SDGs and targets did you choose? So you see here they're asking for the SDG and then they're asking for the target, so that they can see that you know exactly. This is why you can't pick 5, 6, 10 different SDGs, because how many goals and targets are you going to include on this page? It's easier for you to just stick to maximum of 3, and you say SDG 3 targets 3.5, 3.6, SDG 8 targets 1, targets 8.1, 8.2, and like that, and then you can just keep it moving. Then implementation, describe the architecture that your team chose, the high level components. This was also in the submission criteria as well. So you explain it there. The implementation, which ones did you choose and why? You explain as well. Feedback, testing, and iteration. Remember, you saw this in the submission criteria, so this is not strange at all. Feedback, testing, and iteration, you also mentioned it there. Somebody did not like what we did, somebody loved what we did. Maybe they saw the app, they wanted to download it. Mention everything there. Success and completion of solution, you explain the project's impact using cause and effect. So how does the solution address the problem that you are solving? This is the problem on ground, and this is what we're doing about. What was the quantifiable data collected? Again, numbers, because that's what's really going to drive the essence of your solution. So you include that there. Scalability and next steps, this is asking for your vision, your how futuristic you are about what you guys have done, and then you explain how it's going to be upscaled to appeal to a larger audience, and that is that. Yeah, then this page, your preferred language for communicating with a mentor, because the top 100 teams are going to have the chance to get together with a mentor from Google that will help improve on the solution against the demo day. So there's top 100, top 30, top 10, and then top 3. So that is the hierarchy of it. So you pick your preferred language, sorry. And then if your team is selected as part of the top 100, what primary technical area do you guys need support in? So while you're building the solution, there might be something, a particular technology that you people didn't really understand. Maybe you got by it by like 1 or 2 YouTube videos, but you don't really understand the technology, and you feel like if you understood it better, it would improve on the solution. You can pick it here. Maybe you can say Flutter, and then what secondary technical area do you need? So this is also something that you guys feel like if you understood it better, it would have helped. So this is the second one, and you can say Firebase, for example, and then you go next, because this is what they're going to use to decide which mentor will be assigned to you. So it's someone that has knowledge about where you guys need improvement on. So this is just terms and conditions of the solutions challenge. So you read through it, make sure that everybody on your team is on board, and then you can agree. Your GDSC membership, do you agree that by the time of submission, at least one member of your team is part of a GDSC chapter? And then it's yes. And if you have, do you agree to not submit a solution that has previously been submitted to the Google Challenge? And then you pick. So this one, it cannot be a solution that has already been submitted for Solutions Challenge before. So it can't be exactly the same. Which is why I said you can improve on an existing solution, or you can do something completely new. It can't be exactly the same, because then what exactly have you done? Do you understand? So then age, you must be above the age of majority. So you read through this, make sure that all of you are legal in your country. And then do you agree you are not a resident of any of these countries or territories? So you look through and then you pick, and then you would like to be contacted, or you can say yes or no, but like yes, why wouldn't you want to be contacted? And then you submit. But I'm not submitting, so I'm just going to clear the form. So yeah, these are the 6 steps for your solution challenge submission. And yeah, that is the end of the form itself. And now the judging criteria just goes over exactly what the judges are going to be looking out for when they are looking at your solution. So you can read through this and make sure that your entire story ties these points into it, so that you can make sure at every point in time when a judge is looking at the form, you can get the complete points that you're supposed to get for every part of it. Yeah, so this is this one actually, I just feel like just something that helps people just realize we're human beings. As much as we are building solutions and we are being technical, like never lose sight of that just humanity in the people that you're working with, because for you to even be able to submit this your submission form is asking you for a lot of stories. There are things there that are at least 1,500 words, and it's requiring you to tell a story for you to say, this question you have asked, this is how I am answering this question. And you can do it. You can write, you can speak extensively to that story because you have been a part of it from the beginning. You just have to immerse yourself in the experience of building this solution, because of course you might have the chance to do this again, probably not the solution challenge if you're already like a final year student at your university's GDSC, but this particular moment, this 2024 solutions challenge, you're not going to have it again. So you want to be able to feel the moment, every single thing that you're doing, from when you start, from when you decide the SDG, you decide the problem. You want to be in the moment with it, because that is how it will translate into what you are typing in your form. It's contagious, and you can feel when somebody is really passionate about what it is that they're doing. So you can be a beautiful storyteller, you just have to believe it. Secondly, language, English language, all the different languages in the world have been developing for years. You're not going to know every word for everything you want to describe, but this submission form gives you the opportunity to make sure that you get your story straight and describe it exactly as you want to, and use words as opposed to trying to explain what you're doing in an entire sentence. If you want to say, for example, we tested the solution over and over and over again, and every time we tried it, we kept improving. If you're typing, as I'm saying, like we tried this solution two, three times before we discovered what was wrong, and then we now went to find a solution for it. A way you can sum that up is to say we use an iterative approach to this solution. That's one word, because you have 1,500 words to write, and you might get to 1,300, 1,500 and realize you still have a long way to go. So the advantage is, as you are preparing, you can put it in an AI tool, for instance, and say, what is one word to describe that I'm trying to say? And then you will see the word, you will see the synonyms, and you can pick one synonym and use to explain that entire story that you're trying to explain. Then your solution challenge story begins the moment you decide to participate. So be attentive, be sharp, pay attention to your team, make sure everybody's on board, do games, like build life, because things pass us by so many times because we are so focused on where we're going that we almost lose sight of the people that we are working with. And so you don't want that to be you. You want to be able to have a beautiful, because the synergy in the team, it really shows when they go to demo day. You can really see the team that spent time together, the team that built friendships, the teams that did nice team building activities to just bond with each other. And then be open to the idea that you might not know what you're doing the first time around. Give yourself permission to learn. Be kind to yourself, be gentle, be calm. There's nowhere we're rushing to. Okay, well, February 22nd is where we're rushing to. But at the end of the day, you are learning. You're a Google developer student, you're not a Google developer expert. There is not that much pressure on you to know exactly what you're doing every time. That's why it's called Solutions Challenge, to challenge what you know and to see, I can actually learn this thing. Because there are teams who didn't start out knowing how to use particular technologies, but along the line of the competition, they learned, and some of them learned together. Maybe they sat down together and watched a 12-hour YouTube video on it, and that's how they knew how to build it. And that's a beautiful story for them that they're going to take with themselves for the rest of their lives. And so you want to be open to that learning process and really just immerse yourself in that experience for you. And oh yes, yes. So now the floor is open for questions. And be kind. Me, so I'm not a good proper expert, I'm a good proper student. Thank you so much. And thank you guys so much so far. Thank you, Sadiq, and the entire team. This bootcamp has been amazing. You guys have been doing such a good job. And thank you everyone for listening as well. If there are any questions, I will hopefully take them now.
Let me start by asking you what you don't know. Who will win AFCON 2024?
What do you mean what I don't know? Nigeria. Who else is going to win?
Anyways, thank you so much. That session was really insightful. Just listening to you as you dissected the steps. Thanks a lot. The floor is open. Please, if you do have a question, just signify by raising your hand. Then I can call you to the mic and you can ask. We have about 5-10 minutes for questions before the second half starts. So let's see if we have any questions. Anybody? Going once, going twice, then it means that you did a very amazing, wonderful job of breaking it down, Lillian. Please let us use the party pooping emoji to thank Lillian for an
Thank
amazing,
you so much.
wonderful session. Yes, I see a lot of emojis. So you were great. So thanks everyone. This brings us to the end of our bootcamp. Really looking forward to all your submissions. Um, and hopefully would have maybe even the top 10 from SSA. Okay, I'm just kidding. Maybe just having maybe 3 people out of top 10 or 4. And I think you can be the one. So just put in your best. If you have any questions, please reach out to your lead or reach out to myself. I'll be able to help and assist with any question you have. Abdurrafil. Abdurrafil. I see your hand raised. Do you have a question? Okay, I'd assume you don't. All right, people. Thanks a lot, everyone. Do have a wonderful weekend and up Nigeria.
Yes, have a wonderful weekend, guys. Bye,